What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Cedric. Welcome back to Sweet Scale TV. Today's episode, we're checking out the brand new Ableton 11, and I'm not even gonna wait till the end of the episode. This DAW is lit. I mean, yo, let's be real. It's in the name. You're able to do a ton, and that is the case with Live 11. It doesn't matter if you're a beat maker, producer, mixing engineer, live looper, DJ, or if you need a DAW for recording a live band. So what I want to do today is take a look at 9 key features. But before we get started, I want to let y'all know I'm giving away 2 copies of Heat Up 3 and 1 copy of Heat Up 3 Ultimate Edition. In order for you to qualify for this giveaway, you got to do 3 things. Number 1, follow Sweet Scale and Initial Audio on Instagram. Number 2, like my latest post. And number 3, tag 2 artists. That's all you gotta do to qualify, and the winners will be announced once Sweet Scale TV hits 30,000 subscribers. That could take 3 weeks, that could take a week, I'm not sure, but make sure you guys jump on that ASAP so you don't miss out. Back to Ableton, there's a lot to get into, a lot to discuss, so let's get started. The first 2 features I wanna talk about are track lanes and comping. Track lanes is definitely up there in terms of one of the new key features that is a huge game changer. Whether you're recording live instruments, vocals, or even MIDI instruments, having track lanes is a game changer. So I'm just gonna record something real quick on one of my instruments. So I just did a 4-bar loop, and I just played the same thing over and over, and instead of having Ableton record over every single loop, it recorded everything in track lanes. With track lanes, that allows a singer or a musician to keep playing freely, and even if they mess up, I can still grab the best parts of every track lane for the final audio track. So if you want to listen to a specific track lane, you would hit the speaker icon. You can pretty much do everything to a track lane that you could do to a regular track. So I can reverse a sample, I could chop up a sample, adjust the gain. You can also rename track lanes. I can change the color of a track lane. You can easily delete a track lane. So once you go through all your track lanes and you find the parts you want, there's a couple different ways to get it to the audio channel. You can either just drag it up to the audio channel, select and hit enter, or you can use your pencil icon and select the part you want. Once you've selected the parts you want, you can get rid of the track lanes. You can do track lanes for MIDI and audio. I just recorded a 4-bar loop, but I can always grab a track lane and put that outside of the 4-bar loop. I think mixing engineers, anyone that records vocals on their own, as well as musicians, are really gonna like the track lanes and comping features. Another great feature with Live 11 is the CPU usage meter. Just like Live 10, the meter is found at the upper right hand corner, but now you have the option of looking at the current meter usage or the average meter usage. That's a really cool feature, but it's not that important. What I find most important are the CPU usage meters on each and every individual channel. So I opened up my latest single, Stars Tonight, which can be found on all streaming platforms, and let's take a look at the CPU meter. I think it's channel 1 or 2 that use the most CPU, and that makes sense because I'm using the most effects as well as probably a third-party plugin. Now, to be quite honest, I've got a 64 gig RAM MacBook Pro, so I don't really find I run out of CPU in any project. But when I did have a 16 gig RAM MacBook Pro, I found I would run out of CPU all the time. So this will be extremely beneficial for anyone that's wondering, why am I running out of CPU? What channel is using up all my CPU? You can now look at each and every individual channel. Another really great feature is the scale mode. The scale mode is something I know a lot of FL users really like. Once you insert a clip, you can find the scale mode just under signature and groove. And you can choose any note, and you have 35 different scales to choose from. So because we have a yellow clip selected, the C major scale is represented with the yellow notes. Now this is a really cool feature. I personally like to play all my melodies by using a MIDI controller, but if I ever have writer's block or can't come up with a melody, I can go to the scale mode, and there's a couple different ways to view the scale. You have option 1, which shows the scales and other notes that are not within the scale, or option 2, once you click on scale, you'll get rid of any notes that are not within the scale you've selected. So in this case, I got rid of any notes that are not in the C minor scale. For this next feature, I'm just gonna load up a project. I pulled up a project with multiple scenes and multiple BPMs. anytime I wanted to make adjustments to a BPM, you'd go to the scene under the master channel and right click and enter the BPM. With Live 11, if you just extend the master, you can see all the different BPM. So if you take a look at this project I've loaded up, as I change the BPM for the project, the only channel that changes is channel 4. At any time I can click on a specific BPM of a scene, hit delete, and that will now go back to the default BPM of the project. This feature is really great for anyone that's into live performances, whether you're DJing or doing live looping. I can go from a scene with a BPM of 147 to another scene with a BPM of 85. Another feature that DJs and live performers are really going to enjoy are the new macro settings. So I've inserted the hybrid reverb on my drum channel. I'm just going to play that real quick. I really like this reverb. I'll talk about it in a separate video, but what I'm going to do is put this into an effects rack. Also going to bring in a filter. And what I'm going to do is assign the filter frequency to macro 1. You do that by clicking on the mapping button and then go to the filter frequency and then click map to macro 1. Next, I'm going to map the hybrid reverb's dry wet knob to macro 2. Now I can play the drums. And I'm going to rename macro 1. Let's rename this to filter. Dry wet, let's rename that to reverb. And I'm also going to change the color. Let me just bring in another filter. And this time we're going to do a high pass filter. And I'm going to assign that to macro 3. So now I have a high pass filter. And something that's brand new in Live 11, you can add more macros, but you can also get rid of macros. So let's say all I need is 4 macros. I can use the minus button and get that down to 4 macros. So to all my fellow DJs out there that are used to playing with the Pioneer DJ M900 NKS, that comes with all the effects in the world. Well, now you can easily have unlimited effects with 16 macro knobs in Live 11. So that's a really cool feature in Live 11 that I think a lot of DJs, live performers, even producers are really going to enjoy. We are finally able to save templates in Live 11. So I'm just going to open a new project, and every time you open up a new project, the default template always gives you reverb and delay, and that's something I never use. So I'm just going to delete these. So now I can easily save this project as a template. So now every time I open up a new project, I don't have to get rid of the delay and reverb. So that's perfect. With that said, you can have a template for your DJ sets. You can have a template for your mixing sets. You can have a template for recording vocals. This is going to help your workflow. Another great feature is the link track option. So I just created this loop real quick. In Live 10, if I was working on a project and I wanted to change the key, I'd have to change the key for every individual channel. Now in Live 11, I can group all the MIDI channels together. And if I change the key for one channel, I change the key for all the different channels. So that is a really cool feature. And the same thing applies for audio channels. I can group audio channels together. And if I make any adjustments to an audio channel, if I want to create a fade in, because I have them linked, both channels are going to fade in. If I want to cut and reverse a certain part, both channels will be cut and reversed. The link tracks feature is going to save so much time for both audio and MIDI channels. And last but definitely not least, Live 11 now allows you to play instruments via MPE, which is I don't even remember what it's I'm trying to remember. What does MPE stand for? Mono Poly Expression? I think that's what it stands for. There are some really cool instruments like the Swarm instrument, as well as Pigments, that allows you to use MPE, but now you can use your MPE controllers with instruments found within Ableton. I kind of miss this Rolly keyboard. So in conclusion, there are so many And I mean so many great new features in Live 11, and I'm starting to put out full songs, work with artists in studio, as well as use my live instruments. So this couldn't have come at a better time, and I highly recommend anyone that's watching, it doesn't matter what you do, whether you're a DJ, live performer, beat maker, sound engineer, producer, it doesn't matter. I highly recommend you pick up Live 11. I appreciate you guys watching till the end of the episode. Don't forget, I do have a giveaway happening as we speak. Make sure you don't miss out. It's your boy Cedric from Sweet Scale TV. Appreciate y'all. I'm signing out. See you in the next episode.